today we look at walls. Presents. So this is week 4. And then we're looking at creating wall types. How do we model walls? How do you modify them? We have what we call the attached to the roof or detached from the roof. And then we already looked at inserting door and windows before, so that's why I can repeat that. And then how do we load types of doors and windows from the library? And then how do we create additional door and window sizes? Or I'll show you how to load them into the drawing. So let me put to the text. So in this text, we talk about how the walls, they're typically created in plan views. When we draw the line for a wall, there are several options for the location line. We can either draw it with the center line, with the finished face interior, or the core finished face, also interior. So if you specify the sections of the wall, you can actually pick which one will be, where the points would be on the line that you're drawing. And it says when you're using generic wall without any structure layers, the core and face options have the same end results. Otherwise, there's a difference between core layers and finished layers. The examples below illustrate the difference. Consists of a simple floor on the edge of which a wall is drawn. So in Revit, we would see the line in this color, and then this is showing that, okay, we're clicking on these points, and then the image shows where we draw the wall line in all the examples. So if this was the lines, and then we draw the wall, so this is the center line, the wall center line. When you click it, the wall is on both sides, a drawing, and then if you look at the 3D, you will see it like this. That means there's a slab and then there's a wall. And then the interior, if we clicked on the edge, it will draw it on the outer part of the wall. So most times we want to know the direction that we're drawing it. And then it shows that when you draw it, this is how the wall will sit on the slab. It's hanging at the edge. That's the interior face. And then exterior. So clicking on exterior, the wall will be inside, and then you click and go around. And this is how it will show on the 3D. And so we have what we call the base and the top constraints. So when we select the wall tool, if you look at the settings, the basic wall, we will see we have the location line. We just explain the wall center line. We'll set a base constraints. What level do we want the wall to start from? Do we want it to offset from that level, which will be the base offset? Do we want it to be constrained by a top? We set it to the roof level like I did in the previous one. We set the heights of it, or we set it constrained. So these two can work together or independently if you want that. And then the initial constraints of a wall are the constraints we set in the properties menu. So this is the properties menu. And then the base constraint is where the base of the wall is constrained to. This is the level on which you place the wall. The top constraint is where the top of the wall is constrained to. If you set this on unconnected, you specify the wall's unconnected height. Alternatively, you can specify a level as top constraint. The wall will run up to that level. Additionally, you can specify an offset for both the base and top constraint. That means you have a constraint and then you're setting an offset. So it will be at a distance or above that distance. It's a vertical distance that is added or subtracted from the specified constraint. These offsets are ignored for attached. Okay, so attaching top or base. So when we have the attach top or base function, we can attach the walls to other elements like roofs, floors, ceilings, or other elements in the same vertical plane. The effect is that if we change the height of those elements or the shape, the wall will follow automatically. So it shows the steps that we can use to attach. So if we select the wall, one or more walls we want to attach to other elements, we click in the options bar, we'll select top or base, and then we select the elements to which the wall will attach. And then here it says the detach top or base. So steps, we select the wall we want to detach, and then select the individual elements from which to detach the wall. So we can select the detach all on the options bar too. And so for offsets, after the offset, I'll move to the Revit. So we enter a distance to specify how far the wall location line will be offset from the cursor position. So we're going to see all these things now that we have talked about. I'll click on the Revit. And we said that this is the Revit interface. Let me go back there. Yeah. So on this is the Revit first thing you see when you click on the Revit. And then if we go to models, we want to start a new model. So we click on new and then come over here and then select metric architectural and okay. It's loading now. So these are two browsers. We have the properties tab and then we have the project browser. So in the project browser, we have our different levels. So we want to look at the walls now, the steps that we mentioned. So I'll go ahead and draw the slab. So under architecture, we have the floor. So if I click on floor, if we come here first, let me go back, cancel. So you want to cancel the step, press X. There's an arrow here under floor. So under floor, you can have architectural, structural, by face or by the edge. So if I click on the floor like that, it will be the default set, which is the architectural floor. So once you click on an element, everything changes to show you what do you want to, what are the settings and things that you want the floor to be like. So it's asking, do you want to offset from the points that you are clicking? Normally, we go and set the thickness of that floor. So like I mentioned, we'll always duplicate because it's a computer and it comes with the settings for one thing each. So if you change the setting on any item, that means you have changed the original setting. So you always duplicate and then make your own. So I can call this floor. And it can give you numbers as you're making a new one. So I'm just saying this is floor 1. And then you want to change the structure of that floor. So edit. Here is 150, and then you should click here to set the material. So over here, I can pick any of the materials that come up here. So if I say concrete cast in situ, and then okay. So I'm leaving the thickness as a 150, and okay. So once we get the settings done, we come to this modify, and here you can use line. We can use the box, we can use hexagon, so picking any one of them. So going with what we have in that, the notes, we have the lines that go this way. So I'm clicking. So it shows me when it's in line with the other. Let's start from here again. So once you're in line with the other point, it will show you that you're aligned with the point, and then I can close it off. So we talked about, so let me finish off the slab by checking the green. And then if we want to look at it, we click on the house here. So we can see the slab. And then if you want to see it in a different way, you come to the base here, you have this box. And then you click on the box, you can change it to shaded. You can change it to realistic. So realistic is the heaviest thing for the computer because it tries to show you the real material. We advise to leave it on shaded so that your computer will not be having too much burden when it's updating as we're drawing. So we have level 1, we have our slab. We said the wall, we can draw it in 3 ways. So if I select the wall, edit type of the wall, duplicate to make a new wall, and then go to the edit structure. It's 200. We either use it 225 or 150. So I can change this to 150 and then pick a material for this wall. You can use this a clad whites and okay. So at the top here, so you click okay twice. At the top here, we have all those settings for the wall. We can set the height of the wall to be 3 meters. That's the unconnected height. So if you click here, you'll see the levels. Unconnected, I can set where you want it to stop. And then we talked about having the center line. So if we want to show what the center line is, you say if you click here and go over. So hit escape to come out of that. And then we want to see it in 3D. We bring it closer. You can see that it's sitting on the center of that line of the slab. So Control Z for undoing everything. And then if we set the wall again, so I'll go to architecture wall and then change this center line. We said finish face interior. If we click on the edge, So this was showing us for it will go to one side of the line. I know this showed in the exterior, but if you look at it, you'll see that it's now flushing with the edge of the slab. So then I will go for the exterior now. So go for the wall. And then at this top here, finish face exterior. And I click, so that's changed direction to the outer part of the slab. So I'll go around with this now, so we can try out the attached top. So we have the walls all around the building, all around the slab rather. And then I'm scrolling my mouse to zoom in and zoom out using the scroll on my mouse. So we have the complete one, and then for us to apply that attached top and base, we'll put on a roof first and then show how it will work. So if I go back to level 1, we talked about the settings. As I go to the elevation so that I can do my settings for my height. Okay, so looking at it in the elevation, we see how our levels are. We want to get a level for the roof. So I can move this. Well, instead of moving it, I just change this place to 3,000. So you want to do the thing that is fastest for you. So I have level 2 at 3,000 at that level. So I can go there now and put my roof. So I go to the roof under architecture and then edit the roof, duplicate, and then give it the name. Okay. And then edit the thickness. So when I was drawing, I can make it very thin so that I'll put the casing around it for the roof. So picking a roof material, roofing tile is here. And okay. So here we can set the overhang of the roof. So you can draw the roof with a line, or we can pick points. If we want to pick points, select the pick line and then put the overhang and then come to the wall. So let me zoom in a bit so if I click around it. So what is going on now is that the setting here has a defined slope on. So if I put this off now and then click here, you'll see that in the area where I took off that defined slope, you'll see that it's asking me, do I want to attach? So I say attach. The area where I remove the slope, you will see that it is like a gable, but for all those other areas that I allow the slope to stay, is a hip roof there. So with this, we want to use that detach. Let me see, let's show how that works now. So I'll detach it and then attach it back. So I've selected the wall and I say detach, and then I click on the roof. So it has detached from the roof. So let's say that we didn't accept to attach it before, and it's like this. You want to attach it to the roof. So I click on the wall and I go for attach top and then click on this. So you find that you can attach your walls to the roof. And then the other casement that we do around the parapet wall, the parapet kind of roof that we do. So if I go to level 2, how we can get that done for the presentation drawings, we use this model in place. So you go to model in place. Most times you use, it has different things that you can model. So for making your own things, you can use this generic models. Okay. To give you a name, or you can change your name if you want. And then what you're trying to do now is to sweep. So I'll show how we use all these other tools after this step. So if you want to do that design around the roof, so you click on a sweep, and then you can say sketch paths. So if I select this sketch path, I can draw with the line, or I can select. So I'll start selecting where I want that design to be. I'm going around the roof, and then here. So once I finish doing that, I'll check the green mark, then edit profile. That is, I want to see it in section to ask me, which elevation do I want to go to? So I take the default one that is showing me basically how do I want that design around the roof to be. So when I come here, the line setting is already on here to draw it. So what I do here now, sometimes I think, I'm trying to remember, I go like this. If I forget, I'll correct it here. So here, I'm not using any dimensions now, so bear with me just to show that, okay, you can play with whatever thing that you're assuming that you're doing your form work or something. So after drawing the curve, you go back and take the straight line and then come back this way. And so let me say Control Z and then delete these sides. Okay, so in this case, the roof should be sitting inside it. So if I select this and then drag this out, and I'll complete. This is just a sketch. So you can do anything that you want here, Control Z. And then if there's any gap, you can use the chamfer to do this. And so when I check this, and then again, you see that it has gone around the roof. So if I finish that and look at it in 3D, you see that go to elevation, you see that it was all around the roof with that shape that I drew. So it sweeps around the line, the sketch line that we have. So with 3D, go to the wheel, bring it to here and find the center, and then we can orbit and then zoom in and see that we have that shape around the roof. So another thing that's, let me go to level 1. If you want to do those mass modeling, you can also do extrusion, which you said a model in place. So architecture, model in place, and then go for generic model. Okay. So this will give us number 2. So another one that's common to use is the extrusion. And then let's say we had this box to extrude. And then you set the height over here. So if I use 2500, apply. And then check the green mark. Okay, we finish modeling. So if you look at it in 3D, you see that we have a box here now that is 25 with height. And then if you select it, you can drag it, you can push on the sides to adjust the shape if you are doing kind of like a block model. So does anybody have any question or comment here? Then I'll continue to the next topic. Yeah, so one thing I didn't mention for the roof, if you selected the roof, you can change the slope. So here is 30 degrees. So let's say I'm changing it to 25. Sorry, honey. So select the roof again. Oh, what I did now, the angle has disappeared. Okay, so Control Z. And then we can change the angle of this roof, select it. Basic roof. I think I clicked on something that took away the angle. Okay. So when I restarted it will set, but you can change the angle with that place that you saw the 30 degrees, you can change it to 25, 20. Okay, so the next thing I will talk about is how to get the schedules. So if we want to get our quantities, go to view.
Patricia.
Yes.
Patricia.
Yeah.
What of the roof members? How would you sort out the roof members now?
Yes,
The
the roof
rafters, the
members.
pole.
Okay. Yeah, so if you want to put in the rafters, you would go to, I think I used a structure, and then I made, so inside the structure, you have your beams and then so I have videos on those details, how you make the roof. You have to make a set plane. So I'll work on that. Like the next time we meet, I'll make notes on it to show you how the steps are. But it's inside the structure, and then we'll get the beams, and then we have to bring in. So over here, your default Revit is steel members. So you have to go to insert, and then load the family. For the recent versions, we load the family of members. So here we can load the wood. If I come here and see the wood, I'll say, let's say roof. So over here we have all those materials for the structural members. Yeah, we have the trusses. The no result. Okay, because I put roof here. So the trusses here we get metal parts. We go back. So over here we can bring in the, let me read it well. Profiles. We have a, yeah, I'll look at it and do the notes for you, but I know that I'll get the material from here, and then you pick a plane and then apply them inside. So yeah, like you mentioned, if we put them in, then when we do our section on this drawing, so go to level 1. If we draw right now, go to view, and then get the section. So if I right click here and say go to view, we will not see anything inside because we didn't put the members. So but when we draw that, put in the king post and all that, we'll see those members. And so I think I wanted to talk about here the schedules. So for schedules, we say schedule quantity. So this is why learning the Revit is important, because once you put in all your members, we can do these schedules and select the, let's say we wanted to do the roof now.
What schedules are you referring to? Is it windows, doors?
Yes, so these schedules is you can do for all the materials in the building. You can do for doors, for windows, for the walls. And then, so let me open that now. So view the schedules, quantities. So it's like you doing your quantities for your drawing, and it's going to give you the details. Like instead of drawing the door and window schedule, yes, it will count everything for you. So all these things that we're seeing here, if I let's see, I collapse this tab for the floor. I say floors, okay. This tab will come up now, and then we'll select all, it has a lot of materials that we can select that we want to see the schedule. So if I say family, you click with this arrow, this green arrow, to transfer it, most of the details. So you can add an image too of the type of material that you're specifying, yeah. And then the dimensions, you would have your area, yes. So you want to know the area of the floor, okay. And then what other thing do we normally put? Maybe the type if it was there, and then we say okay. So it will generate the schedule for you. So move this down. So we see the floor, and then we see the area of the floor, and then it gives you the name, that with that name that you give to it at the beginning, to give you the name of that floor as floor 1. Wow. Okay, so you mentioned something again, the doors and the windows. So in part of the titles, the thing that we'll do today, we talk about how do you create your own type of, how do you create your own door and window, okay? So we had what we call the families. So if you go to this file, and then you say new, instead of a new project, it will be a new family. So when we come to new family, we have different countries, like the languages, simple that always just go to English. Yeah, so inside this English family, you specify the thing that you want to create. So the beauty of the Revit is its flexibility. You can make any thing that you wanted to. So this is a baluster, casework. So here we have the door, we have curtain wall, we have door. It's by the next week we'll also look at curtain walls too. So if I want to make my own kind of door, I open, so to open a new window, and then we can create our own door. See, the width is fixed. You can change the width of the door to what we want. So if I click on this, I can make it a 900 door. and then model the door inside this space and then save it out. So let's say we go to create, and then you can use any of these tools here. In that creates, let's say you want to make extrusion and draw the. So now I have lines. I'm drawing an arbitrary door now. And so what will be the height of the door? Say 2, 1, and then check it. So once you make this, you can say load it into the project. It will now come with us into the project, and then we can place it on this on the wall. So this is the one that we have just tried to do as a project. If I go to 3D view, I want to see the one we just placed now. So center and then orbit it. So you see the door that was just placed from not using the own library. So if we come to the one here in this architecture, select the door. You can pick from different doors that are here. Click on the arrow. You see the different dimensions here, and then pick the door. So you see that this one has the swing. So you can set all that in the new place that we're making the door. Same thing for window. You can place the window here. This one is a fixed window. So most times for starters, if you click on the window, we click on the arrow here. We have different types of windows that will show up here. Click on the arrow. You see fixed windows, you see casement windows, you see double hung, and then we can have more windows. If we go to insert, go to this, so I have a command on, it will grade out. Sometimes you have a command on, some things will be graded out. So we go to the load Autodesk family. And then if we scroll down to Windows, then it's kind of like going to shop for something that was not there already. So we see different other types of windows. So depending on the version of Revit that you have, you can get it from inside the software, loading it from inside the software, or going to this Autodesk family. I think after 2020, they are using this load Autodesk family to get things for the windows. So we have the millions, we have different types. You can place the skylight. Somebody asked me about the skylights before, the lights in the roof. So these ones are automatic, that if we load them in the project and then we come to the, I think it's on level 2, we have the roof here. We'll go to 3D and then architecture, components. So with the components you can bring in, so this is a desk. I'll go to the arrow and then look out for the thing I just loaded now. So we have different types of trees here. We have the parking thing, desk. Okay, so it's not coming up here. So I'll go to my window, skylights. Sometimes when you import, depending on what you bring in, it will go to the section. So in the window, we have our skylight pyramid. And so it's not going on this 3D spot. So I'll go back to this level, and then I can place it, to zoom in, I can place it on the roof. And so if I go back to the 3D and go to that part of the roof, you see that it places it on the roof like that. So you don't have to cut it. And then you can come over here, like we said, always to duplicate. So edit type, and then I'll duplicate it and then call it skylights 1. Okay. Then I can change the dimensions, the width, the height. So it's 4:9. So if I can make this one 200 and 200. So it's bigger now. And then I delete these ones. And then I say create similar. If I click there. So let me cancel that because it's not well placed. So most times you place these things in the right level. So create similar. I can place another one here. So usually I align it and then So that if you wanted to do those schedules, everything that you place in the drawing, you can get your windows, your doors. This is the other window that's, okay, so this is the toilet window. You want to change the sill height over here and make it a 1500. So that moves it on the elevation too. Yeah. So do you have any question again?
Now, the roof you did there,
Mm-hmm.
can you go to how you model the roof again?
Okay, so select the roof now and delete it. And then delete this one.
In ArchiCAD, that's what they call automatic roof.
Okay.
Then you can also design your own roof. I just wanted to know, you design the roof or you click on it to just give you a preset roof?
Yeah, so this is the roof part. So if under the roof, you have roof by footprint, roof by extrusion, roof by face, roof surface, and fascia. So let's say these three are the points. So we have been roofing by footprint, where we already have our walls and then we're following it. So once you select the roof, you check, if you look over here, you see define slope. This means that if it's checked, anything that you are selecting will be sloped. Okay, then you want to select the line or pick lines first before we set the overhang. So what overhang are we working with? I'm putting the normal 600, but that feature was too big, so it's 300. And then I can come and select the line around. So in this case now, I'm leaving the slope for all the sides. So as I click now, you can see that it's joining the lines. And then it's showing me the angle that is drawing it at. Okay, so once we've done that for all the sides and then we check this mark, it's asking us to affect the walls. So this is the roof here. And then like before I said, we will change the angle if we wanted. So that's 30 and this is 20 degrees for the roof. So does it look like the automatic one in ArchiCAD?
Yes.
Yeah. So one thing with ArchiCAD, when I was using it, is like I found out that it's not as flexible as Revit, because with Revit now, I can select this roof now, and you see up here, you have edit footprints, okay? So if I click on this edit footprint and go back to that level 2, I can draw boxes inside this roof here. Okay, it's having, I'll take up this slopes. So remove the slope first. And then draw, I'm drawing a box in here. I'm drawing a box in here. And I check that. If we go back to the 3D, you'll see that there are holes in the roof. You understand? So you have that freedom to draw anything that you want just by adjusting the footprints. It will not, it won't constrain you when you're drawing. Then for the casement part of the roof, I'm doing the boxes because it wasn't planned. Okay, so check. Okay, so for the casement part around it, it go to the level where the roof is, and then we say model in place. And then since it's not a ceiling, it's we use this generic model. Furniture, generic. So whatever you pick it's already preset. So I've done one before, this should be 2. Okay, do you want to specify a different name? Yes. So I have 1 and 2, so 3. And then it will ask us to sketch what do we want? So we want to sweep around it. So it's like you're kind of going around a shape. So pick a part, sketch a part. I've sketched before, so I'll pick now. So I'm going to pick the edges of the line. So pick it. And then when you're done, check the green mark. And then it says the profile. So what will be the section of this casement? And then to actually go to an elevation so that you can draw it properly. So over here now, we can make those designs that we want. So usually this may sit on the wall and then come out, doing another shape like this one. So if you do this, and then second, and finish it. We went to the 3D view. So we have the roof like sitting here. And then the roof by face and roof by soffit means that we're not using the slopey. So if we took out all the, let me go to edit footprint again. And then we took out all the slopes, it will now be a flat roof. We'll go to level 2. I've selected that line, select the line, and then if we go to remove the defined slopes, we can make it a flat roof. Once you're done, check the green mark and it's a reminder to save the project at some point. So let's see what we've done here. Oops. So this is what's happened with all that slope. So we can send it to slope to a side. We're sloping to one side now. I think that the angle is too much for this kind of thing. I will make it 5. And then you can see, so you can really play with the roof by removing or adding the slopes to on it. We'll look at the line, what's left for us to do. We've done the creating additional, so I finished the things that we have for today. Does anybody have any other questions? And then all right. So we were talking about the installation at the beginning. Let me open that.
Just another question.
Yes.
In doing this,
Yes.
no, do you work on the floor plans until they're completed, or you work on the floor plans, be checking the 3D until your entire concept is completed? What's the workflow like, kind of?
Okay, so because you asked this now, let me show you like something I did today. Yeah, so I have people just ask me to draw this thing for me. So today, these people call me and say, hey, we have a presentation, we want to draw this thing. So they send me this sketch. Let me open that while I'm talking. Minimize. Just hold on a second. Oh, I did this in the 2023. Yeah, so while that is opening, so these guys, they do roof construction, but I don't think they have somebody drawing for them. So what I did was do the plan. So do this plan, put this grid line in, and then I had to make this family of because they want to do curved trusses. So I had to make this one as a family and then bring it into the object. So this is just it in different views so that they can show the presentation there. It's almost ready. Just hang on. So in Revit, when you do all that, you can put them on the sheets or you can export them as image. So for this one, I just showed you now, I exported this as an image. So if you go to File and export it, click on Export and go to Image so that you can have high quality pictures to show on your slides. So when I make them a JPEG, so images and animations as an image, you pick where you want to save it. So for these people, I have this folder here. So let me just leave it as project 1. And then you select, so we have to read everything, select the visible portion that we can see. Then this can go up to, I think this is 16,000 pixels. Let me see, I've not tried it before. So I put 5,000 before, okay, so you can go up to 15,000. And then the person that taught me say pick JPEG lossless. So I pick a lossless, I pick the visible portion, and then okay. So that way you have a picture to insert in your either PowerPoint slides or Word, depending if you're doing a report like that. So this one is hanging. Let me just hold on a bit. And then, so this is the 23. Close this. Sorry. Yeah, so this is the one I'm showing you now. So from that sketch now, I had to draw the walls and then the grid lines. Then I created this object. So if we look at this, you were asking about 3D. So when I'm working, I'm looking at the 3D to be sure that, okay, I'm placing them all right. I'm placing them in the, so he wanted this to show like 5 different trusses, okay? So making this truss means going to family, my mouse is in the other screen. Okay, so go to family and then new, and then you create a new family. So for this truss, if you want to make a new family with English, the language is going to show in English, that's what that means. And then I had to pick a metric trusses. So everything is already preset. So make a metric structural truss, metric structural truss. So this is what I selected. And then that will open a new window. So we have the new window. It's giving you the length, the height. So setting a width here. I think what I used there was like 14. And then I set a height for it. Let's say it was 900. So making a new trust that's not in the library, because when we look at that load libraries, if I go back to insert, if you want to go to load Autodesk library, and then you checked for the structural trusses. So they already have presets, so you don't have to build everything. You can pick any one here and adjust it, adjust the dimensions. So, but there's no curved one here. So cancel, and I'm making a new one here. So at this stage now, if you go to create, you tell it that you want to make the top chord, it will come to the lines. Which one am I picking? I want the curve, so I start from here. If you go to the end here and then drop it, and then you go to the create again and say the bottom of the chord, and then I'm going to offset it from the existing one. So we saying we're making a copy, and then our distance can be let's say 600. So click here and make another one, then go back to create, and then now we want to do the web. So click on the line, and then we can make subsequent ones that will run in the middle of the choices. Let's start on the line. Okay, so once we do that, we will close up the edges, and then we see that they are not, they don't have the same distance. So we can tidy that up by using this EQ, means that it should be equal, but we have to do the dimensions first. So we pick on this dimension and then click on those, on the lines. So start again, click here. And then here. Once you click and then click on this EQ. It's 4 o'clock. So you click on EQ, it will automatically equalize all those distances and then tell you that they are equal. And then we want to create the there's another the web part of it. So click on the points. I can see that the line did not get to the end. So go back to create and then the web. So with this now, we can say load this into the project. And so if I come here and then let me just drop it outside away from the other ones. If we look at the 3D now, we see this new one that we just made here. And then the other ones are there. Yeah, so I'll stop here today. And then if you have any questions, let me put my email there because I'll stop sharing. And then this is my email. So you try to install with the person. There's this guy. Let me see if I can paste. So the person for the Revit software, his name is Chima, and that's his number. And then this is my email. So let me know how it goes, and then I can talk to my friend that introduced him to me, so that we can get the Revit working before the next class. So anybody have anything to say? I'm about to close it.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you also for sharing. Bye.
Okay, now bye.
Bye.